Hi guys, my name's Ash and welcome to Audi Retrofits. Now behind me I have a 2014 Audi A1. As you can see, it was involved in an accident. Luckily I wasn't the one who crashed it. I bought the car like this. It's an insurance write-off, salvage auction car, which I luckily won. And the plan is to repair the car and modify it, to build it better. So that's exactly what I will be doing. So join me on my journey as we fix this car and we build a one-of-a-kind Audi A1.
Now we start with the auction. In the description, it describes it as a front-end accident with a secondary damage of a steering issue. It doesn't explain what that might be, however it does say it starts and drives. Looking closely at the pictures, you can see that the wheels themselves are pointing straight, and that gives me confidence that there is no suspension or axle damage. Now for the most part, the damage seems to be limited to this area on the passenger side at the front, which is where the power steering pump is located. And from the image supplied of the dashboard, you can see a yellow steering light as well as a coolant light. Typically, yellow steering lights are easy to diagnose, and so I'm not too worried about this issue on the car. So we won the bid, and a few days later the car was delivered to our units, with of course a flat battery. Okay, so I've just hooked up my A7 with a pair of jump leads to the A1. Hopefully this should start charging up the battery for me, and then we can start the car and get it inside. Okay, let all the lights go out. Okay, so this isn't that bad. We don't have any airbag lights, which is cool. We have the steering light over there, so that might just need some diagnosing to see what that is all about. The engine light is always on when the engine is off. Look at that. Coolant level, so we need to check that as well, figure out what's going on there. Washer fluid, yeah, that's about right. Anyway, what else have we got in here? So we've got an A1 and it has auto headlights, which is cool. That means auto wipers as well. It has climate control. All of this is all apart in pieces. I'm guessing the guys who dropped off the car pulled this up to release the parking brake, to put it into neutral so that the car could be left here. The unit has the large screen MMI system, so 7-inch MMI with nav enabled, so that's a good plus point. What else do we have? We have dimming rear view mirror and a cream roof. The seats, they're okay, but I'm not a big fan of them, so I guess I'll be doing something with those. But yeah, let's see if we can start this car now. Wonder. Okay, so the car's come on. We've got some life. Engine management light's gone out, so that's good. So now all we're left with is the steering light and the coolant light. Cool. We'll leave the car running for a little bit, let the battery charge up, and then we'll take it inside. We'll stick it on the trickle charger. Managed to get the car inside, and I discovered already a couple of little issues. First off, the steering wheel, it was really tough to turn it. Now, I know I saw an orange light inside for the steering wheel, so I'll diagnose that, but for the time being, it's really tough to steer this car. The other thing that flagged up when I drove it in, a light came on the dash showing a battery icon, and the error came up saying that the engine or the alternator isn't basically working. So we'll have to investigate what's going on with the alternator here. In fact, hello, there it is. There's our problem. We have a snapped alternator belt. So that would explain that. I guess that will have to be fixed. So we'll figure out what's going on, if it's any more than just a belt, if there's anything broken here on the pulleys. But otherwise, we'll try a belt and see what goes on with that.
2 hours later.
This load of mess is the drive belt, which for whatever reason, it tore itself up and it came out in all these little pieces. So I managed to recover these from the pulleys down here. There's a pulley there. It was just all sort of tucked behind it. So we yanked them out. That's out of the way. We've just received the new pulley, so that will go in shortly.
The other thing is the headlight. So the headlight on this side here, I've removed it and I've removed the bracket it sits on. So here's the headlight, and as you can see, the whole rear of the light is all smashed to pieces. So needless to say, that's going to be replaced anyway. I've also ordered a new headlight bracket. This is what the headlight sits on. Now this took a bit of a whack, and from what I can tell, it's bent. And being it's a cheap piece of plastic, just bought another one, so we'll replace that out. So that's easy. On this side of things, so this tray piece that connects the bumper together, as you can see, half of it is missing. So we'll replace that as well, get one ordered. Over here, you can see there's a whole lot of stuff on the floor. So I've got our friends next door who's come over with his slide hammer, and he's managed to yank out this piece here. So it's the bottom part of the chassis leg, essentially, where it was kinked upwards from the accident. So we're just straightening it out and making it all level up to the bottom part of the slam panel, and then that will keep it all the strength will be here, and that will look good. The other thing we've done here is the steering pump. So it turned out there wasn't actually anything really wrong with it. It just was basically disconnected. So plugged in that connection cable. So this one is responsible for CAN communication. Plug that back in, and the car can see it and talk to it, and its power steering is working again. The bracket itself had been bent back, so we've also managed to yank that forward. So that looks great. And the last thing is the slam panel. So this was a bit kinked. We've hit it a bit, got it up, twisted it a bit. It looks okay. We'll find out when we get the headlight back on it how straight it is, or if anything else is needed, or even if this needs to be replaced. But for the time being, it looks okay.
Day 2.
Okay, we're back. And we've done a few things. So we've tidied up this area a little bit. This is the wire for the charging cable. But otherwise, the horn is back in place. Everything's sort of put back in, and it looks okay. We don't have a headlight to replace it with yet, so those parts will be on order, and when they come in, we'll fit those in. The crash bar has been sprayed black. This is because I will be fitting an RS honeycomb grille, or should I say RS style honeycomb grille. So with the grills, you can see through them, and you can see this silver crash bar. So we sprayed it black so it's not so obvious. So that's done. On this side, I was messing around. So in the car, it was showing me errors like coolant and washer fluid and so on. So we topped up the washer fluid here, and as you can see, there's water everywhere because it started dripping it all out. Now I've done a couple of repairs to the washer bottle, and we've got about maybe 99% of it. There is still a tiny little drip. If I can't find the leak, then I'll just replace out the bottle. Because that's taking way too long to mess around with. We've taken it out like 3 or 4 times already, trying to repair it. But that is also now done. The coolant has been topped up. So now we don't have any coolant lights inside, and it's hard to see down there, but you can just about there see the drive belt, the alternator belt, has been fitted back on. So one of those came in today, ordered it. Brand new from Audi, so that's been fitted on. So now the alternator works, so the battery will start charging itself when the engine's turned on. So that's great. Now inside, Andre's in the house, by the way. There you go. Andre's come in and he had an OCD moment. So before, the glass had some yellow numbers and stuff, markers, I guess. Yeah, written in chalk. This is because it was an auction car. So Andre just decided to clean all the windows. He did nag a few times, can we clean the car, can we clean the car? And quite frankly, no. We've just had the car in. We've got a few more pressing things to do than before cleaning it. He did, however, decide to hoover. So that's great. The car's nice and clean. Right, inside, if we switch the key on. Right, so switch the engine on now. Starts up straight away. Service is due. seeing as we had to order some parts in for the front, we also ordered in all the service parts. As you saw, it said service due. So we've got some filters here, all the filters there. We've got some spark plugs and a tub of oil. We are going to do a full service. I checked the service history on the car, and it looks like the last time it had a service was 3 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. But saying that, 3 years, 10,000 miles ago. Now, I don't know how long this has been sitting at the auction lot or at the scrapyard. But yeah, this has been a while since it's had an oil change, so we're going to do the lot of it. All the filters, everything's going to come out, and we're just going to do a quick service on it. Once that's done, I'll update the service record on this car. That'll be one more thing ticked off it. And then after that, I guess, what should we do next?
A few moments later.
Now, where I left you off, the coolant. So here you can see the coolant tank is now completely empty. This was at max level, but we discovered why the coolant came to us, well, why the car came to us with no coolant in the first place. And that will be because of a leaky radiator. And there is a little bit of coolant on the floor. If you look right here, you can see the wet patch of the coolant as it comes off the back of the radiator up here.
So I had a look around on eBay to find a replacement unit, and I found a second-hand radiator going for a really good price. I bidded, and when it arrived, I started stripping off the front end. The radiator replacement job actually didn't take as long as I thought it would, even though I'm not a trained mechanic and this job is fairly new to me. Nevertheless, managed to get out the whole radiator, even if it did mean I spilled a lot more coolant all over my floor.
This is the old radiator, and that's the main part of the damage that I could see from the outside. Seems to be a clip or two that's broken, but this one is the one that's leaking. So anyway, this is out, that's the replacement. Now this is just a cheap eBay part, second-hand used off another A1, and it looks like it's in a good condition. So all I've done now is I've taken the sensor, it was in here, so I took it off here, mounted to that one, the side brackets, they've also been moved over, and this is now ready to go back into the car.
6 hours later.
Radiator is now fitted. I've checked all the mounting points, it all looks to be sitting in the right places. I need to just reattach a couple of the screws for the rad surround. I had to loosen them to give me some space, because down here there is really not much clearance to be able to get this radiator out. But it's all done, it's all back in, it's all been plugged in. So now I need to get it all plumbed up and check the coolant and see if it holds. While I've stripped it off, so this is obviously the first time I stripped off the front end to see what was going on since the accident. The only thing I've already noticed is this tray here is cracked. That's not a big problem, being that the under tray will just mount to it anyway. And I could maybe, I don't know, even just use a cable tie to pull it up or something. I'm not sure what I'm going to do there. The bucket's there because it dripped out coolant from the radiator all over my floor, which I will clean up just as soon as I'm done with this. But yeah, the radiator swap has gone through okay.
72 hours later.
Right guys, we're back, and the A1 is now mechanically fixed. So let me show you what's going on. The coolant bottle is now holding a full tank of coolant. The radiator is now working properly. There are no drips on the floor, and yes, we have cleaned the floor. In fact, we just mopped it a little while ago. That's why you got little wet patches. But yeah, the radiator is holding. So we've bled the coolant system, and the car inside is nice and toasty. So that all works perfectly. The radiator is sorted, the coolant is holding, the alternator is now working properly with the new belt. So that's all great. The power steering on this side is also holding perfectly, and the power steering is working with no errors on the system. So mechanically, this car is now fixed, and I can't tell you how happy I am and how lucky I am that this worked out the way it did. So right now, the car is on charge. I've got my C-Tech charger, just doing a trickle charge on the battery. I like to keep it topped up. The A1 is now mechanically sorted. So next up, we're going to tackle the bodywork. So this dented in bonnet and wing will be replaced. We've ordered a ton of parts and we've still got a lot more to order. We will sort out the whole front end with the bumper and the grills and the headlights. All of this stuff is yet to come. So don't forget guys to like the video, subscribe to the channel and let me know your thoughts in the comment below. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.